for the first time since 2007, top-tier American open-wheel racing returns to the legendary Road America as we welcome you to NBCSN's coverage of the Kohler Grand Prix from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It is round 9 of the 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series, and look at the crowd. Look at the IndyCar fans and faithful who have turned out here, so excited and thrilled that this series has returned to Road America. And Townsend, when we woke up this morning and left the hotel, unbelievable what a dramatically different day it is right now.
For sure, we had a lot of rain overnight. The Indy Lights race, actually a fantastic race, started in the wet, ended up dry, but now this Road America racetrack is in a perfect condition for the IndyCar race, and these lucky fans are going to get to see a heck of a show.
Make no mistake though, the weather this morning, if you get off the racetrack, like these guys have been flying off the track in practice, if you get off, that grass is still damp, so you do not want to put a wheel off here. You got to keep it on the tarmac today.
Have a look at this. We're talking about road and street courses. This is the 7th one on the season. Sebastian Bourdais, in addition to his win in Detroit, and then in addition to his win at Le Mans last weekend in the GTE Pro class, he leads the way all time in the Verizon IndyCar Series for road and street course victories. How about that? He's got a bit of a challenge today. Things haven't gone all his way so far this weekend. So getting ready, just moments away before we get the most important words, and that is the command. Here we go.
Road America race fans, are you ready? It's time for those famous words in all of sports. Please welcome President and CEO of Kohler Company, David Kohler, to give the command.
Drivers, please start your engines.
Everybody getting those last fist pumps and high fives of encouragement ready to go. This is a super moment before the start of every Verizon IndyCar Series event, ready to roll. And what everybody's been talking about are IndyCars back on this incredible circuit. Townsend, Paul, take us round.
Such a terrific place to race, not only in IndyCar, but all types of cars. It's long, it has fast straightaways with heavy brake zones, like down here at turn 5, a great passing zone. And then you go up the hill to turn 6, back down the hill in the hurry downs, they call it, through the carousel, the flat out kink up to 185 miles an hour. Canada corner, another good passing zone. Then you come through 14, go back uphill to complete a lap here at Road America. The drivers love it, the fans love it. It's a great spot for racing.
All right. And at the start of every Verizon IndyCar Series event, you will be familiar with this if you're a regular viewer. Don't miss a chance to get in on Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Enter at racewithhonda.com. And today's lucky winner is Edward Bailey from Muskegon, Michigan. Edward, can you hear us in the NBC Sports booth?
Whoa, thank you. It's been great. I'd like to thank Honda, and what a great race.
Well, we couldn't agree with you more, and as he gets a first-class view of this huge crowd here at Road America, by logging on to racewithhonda.com, Edward won this opportunity to start today's race with not only an Indy 500 and motorsport legend around the globe, but a 3-time winner here at Road America. That is the Mario Andretti. Fantastic. Well done, Edward, and enjoy the ride. All right, guys, time to take a look at how they will line up at the Mother's Polish starting grid for the 44th time in his career. Willie P. Will Power is on the pole.
And he did so by saving a set of brand new Firestone Reds for that final Fast 6 qualifying. And Scott Dixon, who's looking to make up an 80-point deficit to Pagano, will start outside row 1.
See the veteran Tony Kanaan. It's his job today to keep Pagano behind him, help his teammate. This is going to be the fireworks of the first lap.
I have to say, yesterday's qualifying was thrilling, and Graham Rahal wasn't looking good towards the top 12, and there were some gambles that had to be made. His engineer Eddie Jones and team did it and got him through to the Firestone Fast 6 starts alongside Elio Castro-Neves.
And then you see Max Chilton with a great starting position, but he was disappointed. He thought he should make it into that Fast 6 on the back of the issues he had with Will Power that we showed earlier. Hunter Ray starting outside row 4.
Connor Daly, great effort yesterday. It's his first time inside the top 10. Great effort by the Dale Coyne team. Carlos Munoz had an engine failure, lost some practice. He's been quick, but lost a lot of time on track.
Fourth car in the Ganassi stable, Charlie Kimball, ready to roll from the 6th row alongside one of the more recent winners, Sebastian Bourdais. Has never finished off the podium here in 4 starts at Road America. Can he keep that trend going?
Going back to row 7, you certainly have to note Montoya having a bit of a slump the last few races. Had the issues at Texas and Indianapolis, but Michael Aloshin starting inside row 7 next to him. There could be some fireworks between those two as they look to advance.
And again, Rossi, he felt he got held up in qualifying by James Hinchcliffe. Should have qualified better. Sato, again, not a great qualifying for him, but he'll definitely move forward in the race.
A couple of the younger guys in the Verizon IndyCar Series, Spencer Piggott, the rookie, Jack Hawksworth, who's had a good weekend, Gabby Chavez, Joseph Newgarden, one of the big stories, driving injured. How can he go? Marco Andretti said they just missed it in qualifying yesterday, frustrated, and James Hinchcliffe, who was docked his 2 fastest laps yesterday for interference in qualifying. He was furious. Starts 22nd, gives us this onboard view thanks to Lucas Oil aboard the 5 Arrow Electronics car 1. Pablo Montoya starts 14th with thanks to Verizon. We'll have this view among many aboard JPM's car. Then we switch back to the man who starts in 13th, Michael Aloshin. He hasn't tested here and is already very impressed with this track. He loves it. The Gale on board with Graham Rahal will show us this view. He's been on the podium the last time he was here in a champ car. What can he do this time out in an Indy car? We will see. And Tony Kanaan, with thanks to NTT Data, gives us this view. He told Robin Miller earlier in the show he's going on the attack. That's what he has to do. And aboard the number 11, Sebastian Bourdais KVSH machine. Verizon streaming. Download IndyCar Mobile to access exclusive live in-car cameras, hear driver and pit crew chatter, and a whole lot more with thanks to Verizon. So there you have it. Need to know everything to get you set up for this 50-lap race. Let's head down to pit lane. We start with Marty.
Well, Lee, why would a driver who scored 44 career poles be so excited to score one here at Road America? Well, Will Power told me, honestly, our team needed the confidence boost. It's just the 2nd pole of the season for this 12 team, and he still thinks this championship is winnable. Despite winning at Detroit a couple of weeks ago, he's 117 points behind his teammate Simon Pagenaud, and as he told me, we need to get wins, and we need to get them now. We have a good car. We have to take advantage this weekend at Road America. Kevin?
Marty, Graham Rahal is only 12th in the championship, but he also believes he can fight back in it. Keep in mind, it's so tight there, he's only 17 points out of the 5th position. He has experience here. He finished on the podium in the last Champ Car race as an 18-year-old in 2007. Likes his car. He thinks they can fight for a win from 6th today, Katie.
Kevin, Connor Daly is making his season best start today from 9th. Thanks to an alternate strategy, something that this guy, Dale Coyne, is known for. But Connor Daly says it's no fluke. He deserves to be up towards the top of the grid. Alternate race strategy is going to be tough today, so Connor will have to stay up front based on solely speed. Robin?
James Hinchcliffe made a great comeback this year from his near-fatal injuries at Indianapolis last year. He was on the pole for the Indy 500. He finished 3rd in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, but it's been a struggle the rest of the time. Today, he's going to start last. He had some issues yesterday. Electronically, he couldn't tell when he should shift, so he was just guessing. Had a miserable day yesterday. He starts last. When we go back to Texas on August 27th, he'll be the leader when we restart the race. But as Juan Montoya said before the race in Barber, I can't finish any worse than I start, and Hinchcliffe's going to be charging from the green flag, boys.
Robin, thank you. And as you well know, 2 types of tires in the Verizon IndyCar Series provided by Firestone. And the red alternate, the softer compound tires, and the black primary. There's only 3 drivers starting on those black primaries, PT. Montoya, Hinchcliffe, and Aloshin. There's a little bit of an exploration here because nobody really knows how far those red tires can go.
Yeah, definitely. And saving fuel on these pace laps is going to be critical. Tire wear, saving fuel, how much fuel the push to pass uses. They got to try to get to lap 13. This is going to be a long race, and we're getting ready to go green here. Guys are lining up.
The last two champions in the Verizon IndyCar Series start on the front row, with the series returning to Road America. We couldn't ask for it to be any better, any bigger. We've got a grandstand start. Will we get a grandstand finish? They pack up nice and tight. Power's looking for where Dixon is. They want to be nicely in formation coming out of turn 14 before they crest the hill. Indy cars are back at Road America, and it's time to bring the action.
It's a late start. It's a late start.
Dixon tucks in behind. Will Power now drops out. Look at them weaving and diving and ducking. Pagano is up to third. Graham Rahal, great start. CANAL tried to push it with power.
Tony Kanaan takes a look up the inside, but most importantly, he keeps Pagano in fourth place behind him as they come to turn 3.
Inside, Carlos Munoz in that red and white car. Dives to the inside of Ryan Hunter-Reay, pushing him a little wide. Max Chilton's in the mix. Daly gets out wide.
Oh, Connor Daly had a good run going up the outside, but a big bobble as he hit that divot. Now he's under pressure from Bourdais.
Wide on the back straightaway. Montoya up against the grass. This is going to be sketchy.
Wow. They were diving for positions, maneuvering, positioning, and around goes Jack Hawksworth in turn 5. I think we saw an escape just there. If that was the worst that happened from that skirmish, that's not too bad.
It looked like we're through the trouble zone now. Everybody will be able to spread out here. Now we've gotten through the danger zone of turns 1, 2, and 3. And now we've got a race at the front with Power and Dixon right on his heels.
Through the kick for the first time.
And now Scott Dixon is going to settle in. He's going to be smart about holding track position, but force Will Power to burn up as much fuel as he can in the lead. It's very difficult to get the mileage you need for a 3-stop strategy when you're leading around here with these long straightaways. You don't have much creativity at the wheel, Paul. There's not much you can do.
A lot like leading at Indianapolis. You're cutting the air for the guy behind you. So right now, Scott Dixon has, if he could have got by on the start, that would have been key, but right now, sit in and wait, maybe go an extra lap. And we got a guy going alternate already.
Somebody's in. He might have damage. I believe that's Sebastian Bourdais.
Yep.
And it looked to me like his right rear pod might be hanging off.
Something went flying in the air on that run down to turn 5. Whether that was from Bourdais' car, who knows? Meanwhile, one Pablo Montoya, Alexander Rossi. Montoya is doing the chasing there. Let's take you back a few moments ago. This could tell us more. Watch this, the view from Montoya's car. Bourdais up ahead. To the right is Charlie Kimball. Almost contact there. There's definitely contact there.
Push to pass is on with Kimball. No push to pass for Chilton. You see he's getting passed.
There goes Bourdais' right rear pod. That was Charlie Kimball getting into the back of Bourdais' Kardashian. And there it is flopping around.
And it's hung up on Montoya's car, so I wonder if it's still there now. We see here something, foam flying, something broke right there.
And again, a lucky escape.
How about these two teammates? Watch Hunter-Reay and Munoz going at it. And this is a long change, and they have to get him out in front of the leader if they can. I don't know.
Not a lot of urgency there. Katie?
And I can confirm what you guys were saying. He did have a damaged right rear wheel pod, so the team brought him in so that they could get that changed out and went from the Firestone Reds to the Firestone Blacks. But it looks like they're having a little bit of trouble getting that rear wing put back on. Still sitting on pit lane, more than a minute here in pit lane, Lee.
Yeah, and here come the front runners. Will Power, Scott Dixon about to put Sebastian Bourdais a lap down. So,
nothing more frustrating than that, to be a lap down now on the first lap of the race. He's just going to be basically out of the race now.
And look at Scott Dixon starting to close on Will Power. And Paul, I wonder if he's thinking, you know what, I'm just going to continue to get good mileage, or if you have a chance, do you go for it?
Well, I think if the opportunity opens up, I think the tires right now, Townsend, are a little bit too fresh. They're saying that about 5 to 9 laps, the tires are starting to wear. We've washed all the rubber off the track, so they had some tire wear issues on the front. Cords showing at about 7 to 9 laps. So I'm sure Scott Dixon is just trying to conserve it. We see Castro Neves making an outside move. Big braking move on the outside.
That's that key spot we told you about earlier in the show, turn 5. They launched down some 60 feet of elevation change into that left-hander.
And there we get to see just how profound the push to pass performs here at Road America Monaco with the long straightaways. Castroneves was on the button. Hunter-Reay did not have a chance to defend. How about this guy? Rossi started 16th. He's moved up 4 spots, and he's closing now on Max Chilton in front.
Order unchanged at the front. Power, Dixon, Canaan, Pagenaud, Rahal, the top 5. Kev?
And Alexander Rossi thought he had a much better car than where he's starting. He felt he got blocked in qualifying, then a red flag. So while some on the back are thinking maybe we make it a 4-stopper, come in early, no chance for Alexander Rossi. He said we're going to try to race our way to the front. And this is the first track he's been at this year. Well, he's raced at before. He won here as a teenager when he was 16 years old.
Munoz and Daly at Canada corner. And Munoz was pretty forceful about that.
Well, and Daly was forceful about trying to hold the position around the outside. I'm blown away by the amount of grip Daly had way offline at the exit. As you see Chilton and Rossi going for it, this is great wheel-to-wheel action.
And
right
teammates Kimball and also Chilton.
That is the young guns of the series right there. They are the future of the series as we have the veterans up front. And we look at this. Daly coming down the outside on Munoz. He brakes really late, and Munoz pushes him out, way out into the runoff. And these 2 other guys close up, and they're all over the back of Connor. So this is a good fight right here with all the youngsters.
Look at Rossi on the charge as he exit turn 3. Alexander Rossi on the button. Munoz on the button. Rossi should have a big head of steam coming on Kimball here.
At the front of the pack, there's less than a second between Will Power and Scott Dixon. This is further down the order, fighting for a berth in the top 10. In the background, look at that orange and white De Vilbius car. That's one Pablo Montoya who gets pushed wide by Max Chilton.
He will not like that. He got kind of pushed out and squeezed and off the runoff. And Sato slid by, said thank you very much.
Well, just updating you that Bourdais has rejoined the racetrack.
I was just going to say, it doesn't matter if you're the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indy 500, you try to go outside on anybody in this series, they're not going to leave you an inch.
Yeah, Montoya definitely would not have liked that. He was moving forward and now just took 2 steps backwards. You see all these young guys running here with Chilton chasing up the back of the Novo Nordisk car. So back on front with Power out front, still Dixon right there.
If you were Montoya, Paul, and you got back to Chilton, what kind of message would you send to him?
He'd be getting the horn if he pulled that one on me.
And you have to think about the frustration that Max Chilton must have now running in 12th. He thought he should have had a berth in the top 6, the Firestone Fast 6. That aside, it's Will Power leading, and we've already seen action here at Canada Corner.
Back at Road America, 5 laps in the books. You're watching some teammates battle here up in Wisconsin. That is Carlos Munoz and Ryan Hunter-Reay. And Carlos has been a little frustrated. We saw him trying to get by Connor Daly earlier, and also his teammate on the outside earlier. He said, listen, don't get too frustrated. Rob Edwards, his strategist, told him, because those guys are way more trimmed out than you. They're going to be a little quicker than we are on the straightaway, but that will help us in late in the run. So that's what their plan is. You see Rob Edwards on the left-hand side of the screen. So Carlos Munoz a little frustrated back there, but trying to make his way up through the field, guys.
And let's take you back just to remind you that this guy's not afraid to mix it up. He frustrated James Hinchcliffe immensely on the streets of Detroit, and he goes for it, PT. If he sees somewhere where he wants to be, look at the start of this race.
And there's Munoz in the middle there. A little hard to circle him, but he's swerving all over the place, left and right, the bob and weave, and that'll draw the ire of his fellow competitors. And Paul, it's just too tight a quarters to be like that on the start.
Looks good to me. I like it. Oh, what's
Dixon's,
going on with Dixon?
Dixon's got a puncture.
Dixon's got a problem.
He's got a puncture, I think. Look at the yellow car, ailing.
This is disastrous. He's got to go the whole way around the track. This tire by the time...
No, I think we're on fire. Copy that, Scott.
Engine fire.
Oh, disaster for Scott Dixon.
This is
The
devastating.
man second in the
Get
championship.
to turn 5 to the station down there. That's probably good.
The reigning series champion trying to hunt down points leader Simon Pagenaud while dueling for the lead of this race. This could be terminal.
It's so early in the race. We're only on lap 6 now, only halfway into the stint, and this is a devastating moment for this team.
Oh,
this
no.
really is going to put him way behind.
Now there's a cutoff here at the exit of turn 5. IndyCar's asked the drivers not to use it, but in this case he has no option.
Well, he's got no power. You can't go anywhere. So,
Marty, tell us more.
Well, we'll see. They don't know what the problem is. You can see that he has no power. He's asking for the fire truck there. You see, he thought he was on fire for a moment. Mike Hull kind of scratching his head. You can see that on the left-hand side of the screen. The devastating thing is, I talked to Scott Dixon right before the race, and he told me, listen, we have a car that can win this race. And when we have a car this good, we have to take advantage on days where maybe Simon Pagenaud isn't as good. Clearly, this is going to be an early exit for Scott Dixon in this 9 team, a very frustrating early exit as well.
Travis Jacobson, one of the team's engineers on the left with Mike Hull. The frown on his face and the bewilderment kind of said it all. So now it's a very healthy 3.5-second gap between leader Power and Canaan in second.
And now we see Charlie Kimball and Munoz still going at it in that mid-pack of the group. If I'm Simon Pagenaud right now, I'm immediately changing my thought process. Now it's finish, high percentage decisions all day. And look at Rossi inside of Munoz teammates there.
Yeah, absolutely no urgency for Pagenaud to stick his neck out and get racy with Tony Kanaan. And now Power's got a nice lead and the pressure is off. And there we see coming in.
Marco Andretti, one of the first to pit on what we'd call the alternate strategy. He started at the back. He's going to try to 3-stop it here and make it to the end as the battle continues.
Chilton got swamped down there into turn 5. Meanwhile, he was trying to work on Alexander Rossi. It was Takuma Sato that was able to take advantage of that. So Sato with a nice move. Juan Pablo Montoya still in the mix after frustrating earlier in the weekend with an engine problem and then not the best qualifying for JPM. He's trying to claw his way back.
Look who's caught back up.
He's closing in on his mate Chilton, so this will be exciting to see if he can get a run on him.
Let's go to the Ganassi camp.
Well, Scott Dixon now climbing in the IndyCar safety vehicle to come back to pit road. Mike Hull, any idea what that was?
It was a convenient way to slow down, unfortunately, but no idea at this point. He said he thought he had an engine issue, and the engine stopped running correctly, so we just asked him to shut it off and pull off the road as fast as possible because we didn't want to go from disaster to something of biblical proportion there.
Doubly frustrating also because you truly felt like this was a car that could win the race.
Well, I think we always feel like we have a car that can win the race because we're really positive here. But we had a great car here, there's no question about that. Scott had done a terrific job all weekend with the car, and the guys had it ready to race, so we'll get it back here and see what's going on.
And they truly do not know what's going on, and the battle on the track continues. Connor Daly and Ryan Hunter-Reay going at it, Lee.
Yeah, Marty, for Dale Coyne Racing, Connor Daly from his first ever IndyCar Series podium in Detroit to a frightening crash at Texas Motor Speedway to his first time here in an IndyCar is really mixing it up just like Graham Rahal with the 22 championship leader of Simon Pagenaud.
I tell you what, if I'm Simon Pagenaud, you don't want to sit back and take it easy too much because these guys will race you hard and you'll put yourself in a position where you could get taken out, Townsend.
Well, and the guy behind him, Elio Castroneves, as they run right now, is second in the championship. Dixon would fall to 4th as they run. So now Castroneves is thinking, I need to outscore my teammate if I have a chance to make a run for this championship.
You can't fall into the trap of, oh, I'm just going to points race and just race for the points. He's got to keep pushing forward. There's no sense in taking a big risk, but you can't sit back either.
Well, I'd argue that the risk comes in falling into the clutches of positions 7 through 12, where the battle is so fiercely contested. There's guys taking huge risks back there. So Pagenaud, as you said, Paul, has to hold position.
Wouldn't that be a twist of irony? Elio Castroneves has been the one going into the final few races of a season leading the points and has seen it evaporate. He could do the same to his teammate, although there is a massive margin. Penske teammates Pagenaud and Castroneves fight it out for another lap here at Road America, now getting close to the first 10 laps complete of this 50-lapper. Look at that. Road America looks a picture. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by United Rentals, office equipment rental services provider of IndyCar, proud sponsor of Graham Rahal. Hey, there's been plenty going on off the track here as well. We put our Katie Hargett into the harness to take a ride on the zip line across the midfield section of the Road America circuit. The organizers here have done a good job giving everyone plenty to do. To Robin Miller. Robin?
Hey, Lee, we're down to turn 5, and I'll tell you something. The biggest crowd they've ever had in Wisconsin sports history, they think was the 1993 kart race when Nigel Mansell was here, and they were 14 deep all the way around this joint. Well, this looks like the old kart days. If you just want to look at all the people on the hill here, and as we pan this camera around and see all the people that are in this place, and it's been like this since Friday. We've seen more people. On Friday, we had more people than we had at the first 3 or 4 races, except Long Beach. So the most important thing is, these people came here for 3 days. They've been clamoring for a race for the last 15 years, and they wanted to see a great race. And thanks to Graham Rahal catching up with the 2 big teams, we're seeing a pretty darn good race.
Yes, we are. Will Power still leads. There he is, and Power has a commanding lead by 6.2 seconds over Tony Kanaan, but Kanaan has a visitor, and that visitor is Graham Rahal, who is right with him. Half a second behind that yellow Gale car running in third. Pagano has been fending off the challenge from the black, white, and red car, the Hitachi machine of Elio Castro-Neves. And look at Connor Daly starting to reel Castro-Neves in.
As we see Ryan Hunter-Ray, the first to stop on what we think will be the traditional strategy. Ryan Hunter-Ray coming in on lap 11 or 12. Everybody's about to pit, and Kevin, he's coming to you.
Ryan Hunter-Ray has not had a car to his liking, so he's been fortunate to be able to keep his position in 7th right now. He's going to go from the alternate Firestones to the primaries, a front wing adjustment. It's Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Carlos Munoz, the very first stall on pit road. He hits that pit stall. He said the car's been pretty good balance-wise. He's just a little bit worried about it on the straightaway. Juan Montoya leaving pit road, and now Carlos Munoz leaves pit road as well.
I see Rossi's pitted there, Montoya. I believe that's Sato or Hawksworth. One of the two, that's Hawksworth. James Hinchcliffe also pitted.
All done. Meanwhile, we look to the front runners. Still yet to pit, but it's coming, and it's coming soon. 13. Lap count of 13 was a popular destination point. Let's ride with Rahal.
And Paul, you picked this up in the break about the right front tire. What do you see on Graham's car?
You can see this on the front tire. There's a line right here on the tire, and that is the tire wear issue. The cords are starting to show, and it's dragging that inside shoulder on the corners in the carousel, and it's wearing it out. So you can see that line there has developed.
Lap 12 here, that's the final corner. What does Rahal do? Does he pit? No, he stays out.
And that's some good fuel mileage to go another lap than the leader. So Graham Rahal's car is in the lead, and we see Power coming down the pit lane now.
And Kanaan too, Paul. So top 2 are in. Rahal, new race leader. Pagano second. Let's see how this strategic move plays out. Kevin Lee standing by. Kev, take it away.
Will Power is going to come into his stall as the leader. So that means Tony Kanaan takes over the lead. He's going to come in 1 lap later. He's going to the primary Firestones off of the softer alternates. And we'll take a look at the tire wear when we have a chance. 7+ seconds for Will Power back out. Tony Kanaan is also in. No changes. The car is very good for Kanaan.
Castro-Neves, also Team Penske, follows his countryman and teammate out. Takuma Sato and Charlie Kimball. Here comes Kimball on Lotion at the tail of that group. Chilton's in the middle. Here comes Hunter-Ray sweeping around these guys.
Watch what happens as this group comes out in front of Munoz. Munoz at speed on the track.
I am not sure the series will like the drivers leaving the pit lane and going straight to the racing line. I saw Power do it, and I was like, wow, that's pretty brave. With Munoz, hot tires, he rounds up Chilton, and he'll get a run on the car in front of him. We'll see now Montoya all over the back of the Lotion.
Brian Barnhart in race control told the drivers, when you exit pit lane, stay to the right, keep it tidy, because you've got cars approaching you at more than 170 miles per hour.
Montoya working Mikel Lotion heavily. And let's see this pit out again. Look at Munoz here. Munoz coming down the front straightaway. And he was flying. Hot tires, as you said, Paul. All these other guys on cold tires. He looks to make a move inside Chilton, decides the better of it, and then has to wait. And look at Chilton start to defend going to 3. Graham Rahal, your leader, down on pit lane.
And And Rico Nault just told him have a great in-lap. He comes in after assuming the lead as others pit. We'll be watching as they come back in, where he cycles back in. No changes. Playing for Rahal as he goes from alternate reds to the primary tire stones, Marty.
Championship leader Simon Pagenaud comes in running second. They're going to put on sticker primary tires for Pagenaud. Waiting on the fuel a little bit. At 7.9 on the stop. We'll see where everybody cycles out. But these drivers were screaming for new tires at the end of that run, as you might imagine. And note this for later. These drivers were able to make it last 14 laps. That'll help the final stints as well as we cycle out here.
And that strategy of staying out an extra lap really served the Rahal team well.
And what I love about that strategy, guys, is by going 13 laps rather than 12, it allows him to move his fuel window to later in the race, being able to burn more fuel on that final stint where you really have to put your ears back and go for it.
So Graham Rahal leapfrogging Tony Kanaan of Chip Ganassi Racing for that second spot. So it's about a 5-second deficit at the moment between Power and Rahal. We'll monitor that. Kanaan, then Pagenaud and Castro Neves. And look at this. Have you seen such nose-to-tail racing in such a long time? This is terrific stuff. Yes, it might be further down in the top 10, but this is hard IndyCar racing.
Hinchcliffe still battling with Marco Andretti, and they're battling with Gabby Chavez at the back of the field. But here we are with Graham. He's jumped ahead of Tony Kanaan. Tony's on hot tires. Might have a chance to close here with push to pass, and he's on it. He's got to stay flat in the kink. He's on that push to pass. Look at him come.
Here we go.
Look at that.
The run down the Canada corner. This is at over 180 miles per hour. Great move, Tony Kanaan.
About 50 horsepower is what you receive with the push to pass, and Kanaan used every bit of that for his benefit.
The team loved it as much as we did. What a move. Montoya has been working harder than he would like to. He's been in the thick of it all day. He's a little further down too in 13th. Maybe make that 12th now.
And look who's all over the back of Juan Montoya, Joseph Newgarden, who rides right in front of Michael Aloshin as we watch on board. Newgarden with a broken collarbone, broken hand, gritting it out right in front of Aloshin here. Heck of a drive from the back of the field. And look at Aloshin. He might be on the button.
He's got to run. He's protecting both on push to pass.
Wow, nicely done.
Strong move by Aloshin.
This guy doesn't get the credit he deserves. Michael Aloshin is a heck of a race car driver.
Now, all of these guys that are on push to pass, we're only at lap 15, gentlemen. We haven't even reached halfway, but several drivers have used half of their push to passes. That's Tony Kanaan, Connor Daly, Carlos Munoz has 6 left.
Look at this, James Hinchcliffe and his old teammate Marco Andretti. Now they're not fighting for the glamour positions. This is down in 19th and 20th. Turn 5.
He was so frustrated yesterday. He had a problem with his steering wheel. He couldn't shift the car, had to go to the back of the field. And once you're back there with no strategy in this race, no yellows, you're really just stuck there.
Well, and when you're battling another guy at the back of the field, you're just losing gap to the leaders.
Power just out here motoring. He's just running his own pace. He's got a nice big lead.
And while life is comfortable for the Team Penske machine of Will Power, and tell you about Takuma Sato when we come back. The AJ Foyt driver's doing well. Power the leader. And we're glad you're here with us from Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, for the Kohler Grand Prix. The 41-year-old veteran Tony Kanaan, 19 years in open wheel racing. You may have seen him in American Ninja Warrior recently. He's got plenty of fight left in him. Watch this, at over 180.
And he has a left-hand kink coming. He puts a huge amount of faith in Graham Rahal, knowing that he's there. And Graham, always so good in close quarters at avoiding contact. Watch this from head on. Graham's got to bend left. And Tony sticks it in there, Warrior style.
Paul Tracy is a 2-time winner here, and this guy being one of your close friends. What do you think of that?
That's a strong move, and he's got to keep the pressure on. And Graham having a great race, making great fuel mileage. So Graham, his tire wear was good at the end of the run, and he was able to close up on Kanaan quite easily. But Kanaan's got some tire wear issues, it looks like.
Speaking of fuel mileage, Will Power, only 12 laps on that first stint. He is your leader, pushing all of that big air out front, nobody to draft off of. Marty, are they talking at all about Will Power saving fuel?
Well, let's talk actually with Scott Dixon, Townsend, because he's watching all of this, unfortunately, from the paddock. Scott, it seemed like it went really quick. Whatever happened? Do you know what happened yet?
Yeah, something, I think the header maybe expired coming out of turn 5, and then we tried to continue on just to see if it was something we could diagnose, you know, through some onboard stuff, but obviously it then caught, I think, the brake line on fire, so I lost the rear brakes, which is why we ended up stopping. But I think that, you know, the team target and, you know, we're going to try and fix the car, get the Clorox car back out there and see what we can make of it. It's a real bummer, man. The car was so fast. Like, we started on used tires, the 12 car was on new, and we can hang with him very easy and get, you know, amazing fuel mileage. So I think it would have been a hell of a fight between us two, and, you know, unfortunately, we've come up short.
Obviously, there's championship implications here. You got about 6 guys working on this number 9 car, trying to get it back into the race if they can. Kevin?
Marty, we've been wondering about tire wear with the rain overnight, green track, no morning warm-up. I heard Tony Kanaan say they're courting. This is Tony Kanaan's right front. He was on the softer primary tires. You can see at the bottom of the tire, the fraying there, and he was still able to maintain position, and he got a full stint out of that. He didn't have to come in early. He came in on the fresh tires. We saw the passive position he made on Graham Rahal. Kanaan back out on primaries and rolling right now.
As we'll go back to the situation with Dixon, they're going to try and fix his car, and isn't that the Ganassi way? They're treating this like it's an endurance race. If there's any points to get, they're going to try and get them.
Get as many as you can. Hey, and Paul, to your point, as we ride with James Hinchcliffe, to your point, look what happened last year about points. It went on a countback to give Dixon the championship. Every solitary point counts. Takuma Sato, we told you about the Japanese racer before we went to the break, the former F1 man, who's now had a long, healthy time in the Verizon IndyCar Series for AJ Foyt Racing. He's been on a move. He's on the alternate red tires, and he's up to 8th. So he's made a nice move, and he is the highest mover in the race, making up 7 positions. Well done, Takuma Sato.
And he's doing a good job to close on Hunter Ray, but being on those reds as the track temperature continues to rise under this Wisconsin sun. We'll have to watch for the second half of the stint if he can hold pace like he's showing right now.
Power, 3.5 seconds out in front of Kanaan. Then Rahal, about 2.5 seconds further back. Pagenaud, Castro Neves, rookie Connor Daly for Dale Coyne Racing 6th. And then Hunter Ray, this man Takuma Sato, Carlos Munoz, and Ganassi's Charlie Kimball in the top 10.
I think Kanaan is closing a little bit on power, so that he's closing that gap.
No question.
He's left Rahal, and he's closing the gap down to power.
Paul, that gap was about 5.5 seconds power to Kanaan after the pit stop. Kanaan's taken 2 seconds out of that gap, and again, I'll speak to fuel mileage. If we do not get a yellow in this race, I do believe Power is going to have to start to figure out how to extend 1 lap his next stop and the stop after.
Tony Kanaan had an interesting bookend to the practice sessions. He went off track and spun on his very first lap of the first practice session, and PT, he finished the 3rd and final practice session quickest.
Well, here's a battle heating up right here. Pagenaud was very upset with the move that Graham Rahal felt. He squeezed him at the end of the straightaway, and he's closed back down on Graham. So this battle right here is heating back up again.
Remember last year, Pagenaud and his engineer, Ben Bretzman, said, we've been given the flexibility to say this is a settle-in year. Not super pressure from Roger Penske, not super pressure from Team Penske president Tim Cindric. All right, guys, find your feet in a new environment. They found their feet.
Yeah, certainly. And let's take another look at the issue that Paul talked to. This is Graham Rahal on push to pass. He's going to duck to the inside of Pagenaud. Watch the onboard pan to the rear.
Yeah,
now Graham's going to fade back out in the brake zone.
He just came across in front of him, took the air off of him. It's kind of a...
He's a full car width, though, ahead, Paul, and that's the line. What's Pagenaud going to do from out there?
Yeah, but I mean, I can see Pagenaud's point, because he could have just held his lane and turned in instead of taking the air off him under braking, so...
Hey, what's going on here? You guys started out today's broadcast in agreement. Are you going back to your old ways?
It just felt weird to agree.
If I was Pagenaud, I would have let off the brake and just gave him a little bump in the back tire and sent him down the runoff.
Yeah, then you would have been visiting pit lane for an hour.
Hey, folks, we got the band back together. It's business as usual. So nice to be back with you two again. Kev, what do you got?
Well, remember, this isn't the first time this season. I think most of us remember that great battle, as entertaining as you can get in the final laps at Barber earlier this year. And then also back in 2006 in Toyota Atlantics here, they were battling for the championship. It was the season finale. They didn't make contact, but they were the rivals that year going for the championship. Graham had a chance, but he had an electrical failure, and Simon Pagenaud won the championship that year, and that's what helped him get the champ car in 2007. We're never going to see anything better, I think, on a road course than what we saw in the final laps at Barber this year.
Graham Rahal running that throwback livery from when his Atlantic days when he was teammates with Pagenaud, and they are having a fierce battle today.
Pagenaud not quite close enough. He does have 6 push-to-pass overtakes left in the bag. Graham Rahal 7th, but Pagenaud knows I need to be closer for that to work on one of these straightaways.
Paul, how much do you think that did for Graham Rahal last year, finally settling and stabilizing with a team around him? And I don't mean by everybody in his father's team, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, but an engineering staff and getting a core group, as we see Marco in again, and then being a contender right down to the very last race, being a championship contender. How much do you think that made him grow as a driver?
I think he just has matured in age enough to know now. I mean, he came in at 18 years old and was a real star right off the bat, and then went into this funk. And he just seemed to be arguing with his team, arguing with his engineers. Remember, he was with Ganassi, he was with top teams and not getting results, and kind of got shuffled into his dad's team. It was kind of a last chance, and now he's kind of figured it all out. So this gap here with Power, it's growing again. So Graham has kind of found his place and getting the job done.
So Will Power continues to lead, make that 19 laps in this race so far, but he's going to have company here real soon. CANAL is less than 3 seconds behind. Hey, there's nothing like turning back the clock and soaking up some golden old times. Look at our man, Paul Tracy, 1993. Look at that field, and what a win. The names that PT beat there, and we zip ahead a little bit further in Team Cool Green colors, and you weren't even touched. Nobody in sight, PT. How good does that feel to look back?
Wisconsin was a great state for me for racing. I won 4 times at Milwaukee and 2 times here. It's great to stand on the podium here.
Rumor has it you spent a week at Siebkens after that one.
As we welcome you back to Road America for the Kohler Grand Prix. It's round 9 of the Verizon IndyCar Series, and this is Team Penske's Will Power leading Tony Kanaan. He's edged out just a little bit by just slightly over 3 seconds. Marty Snyder, tell us more.
Well, and Townsend's been talking, Lee, about Will Power pitting earlier than everybody else. So Tim Cindric is in essence trying to buy a lap in this stint, if you will. So they're sort of keeping that gap to Tony Kanaan kind of where they want it, trying to save fuel where they can, but not pushing as hard as they would normally. They're going to try and pit lap 25 or 26. If they can get that extra lap, they would love to make it to lap 26. And also the thing everybody's worried about, the tires on that last stint. You want to make sure reds can go all the way. We saw a lot of cords, as Kevin showed us a moment ago, those tires that came off Tony Kanaan's car. That was prominent up and down pit road. So Townsend, there's a lot going on with these strategists, thinking about fuel and making those tires last for that last stint.
Thanks, Marty. Always great info from pit lane. I think 25 is okay. If Will Power can get to lap 26, he's in real good shape for the end of this one.
And we keep an eye on the marker in Graham Rahal, who was the one who went a lap extra on that first stint. This is Mikhail Aloshin. I'm going to show you what happened to the Russian racer here just a few moments ago. Down the hill into the turn 5. Slight lockup, runs wide, look to the left, look to the left. Whew, there goes the injured Joseph Newgarden, who has been a big mover in this race. After starting back in 20th position, is now up to 14th, driving with a broken right collarbone and a broken right hand. This has been more than a gutsy performance.
So gritty. I just wonder, how is he feeling? Remember, in practice, you're only doing 5, 6, 7 laps, qualifying, you know, maybe 3 or 4 at a time. We're half distance guys, 24 laps around a very demanding road course, and I have to think that hand is at least in his thoughts right now as he tries to make it to the end.
And Townsend, once again today, he did take the shot to the right hand, sort of to numb it, to get that pain away. Again, the shoulder, the collarbone's not been the issue for Joseph Newgarden. They built a 3-inch pad kind of around the collarbone that sits on his Hans. That's been fine. Again, we mentioned the 13 screws that are in that collarbone, but the right hand has been really bothering. The team plans to test Iowa this week with J.R. Hildebrand, but Joseph told me this morning, I plan to race at Iowa. I'm going to go to the test. My plan is to try and run one stint at Iowa if I can during that test, but in 2 weeks, I plan to be at that short oval, and you guys know that's going to be a tough test for that right hand and that clavicle, and that collarbone.
Well, I mean, talk about the pain in the hand, but Paul, just a week ago, this massive piece of alloy was put in his right shoulder with all those screws that you see there. And I don't know how that doesn't bother a guy.
When we're talking about when the accident happened, we're talking about when will he be back? Will it be before the end of the season, not in a week? So the adrenaline has taken over. We got Munoz and Rossi, teammates in the pits, coming down.
Last time for Alexander Rossi was on lap number 11. They're going to change the sticker reds this time, the alternate Firestones, to help get them a little more balance. Actually, it looks like they are scuffed reds. Despite a slower start to the season, as would be expected for a rookie, that win at the Indianapolis 500 has catapulted him in the championship, and he's thinking about it. 5th in the championship right now. Rossi's car's pretty good today, Marty.
I see Carlos Munoz further up pit road and stall number 1. Quick stop for that bunch, 8.3. They went with the sticker primary tires because he noticed that was much better at the end of the run, Katie.
And it's been a very frustrating weekend for Jack Hawksworth. Fast in the beginning of the weekend, and they just don't know what happened as he goes back out on track after his second pit stop.
Now you see everybody else start to lay out. So your leader's about to come to pit lane as Alocian comes out right in front of Gabby Chavez. Let's see if Chavez can make a move going to 3.
Blocks that move. Cold tires. He's got to line this up on the outside and cut underneath. If he doesn't get it done by turn 5, he will not have an opportunity after that.
Look at him swerve. That's Alocian swerving, not so much to block, although he's got to be careful because here comes Chavez. Alocian trying to get temperature, especially in the right side tires as you come out on cold tires and go to 2 left-hand corners right here, 5 and 6. Canan to pit road.
From second place in this race, boy, has it been a good one so far, Kev, for TK.
Yes, it has. He is in contention to be able to win this race. Coming in from second position, 50 miles an hour on this long pit lane. It's a longer delta than anywhere else. About 40 seconds you lose on track. It's critical. Everyone pitting under green so far in this sequence. He's taking off the primaries, putting on another set of sticker primaries, and Canan is back out, Marty.
Castro Neves comes in, Kevin. They're going to go with sticker primary tires because they think that too will last longer at the end of the run. Elio said when he gets on the brake, the car has a lot of oversteer. You saw the wing adjustment up front, trying to get that car to tighten up. Takuma Sato also on pit road. Their car is pretty good this afternoon. We talked about the progress he made. Charlie Kimball, Ryan Hunter-Reay, all these guys leaving pit road. We'll see where this all cycles out. Will power planning to come next lap.
Good run for Sato to get out, leapfrog, and stay ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay. Here comes Carlos Munoz, and Montoya struggling to get up to speed on pit exit as he comes out in front of James Hinchcliffe.
And Hinchcliffe's going to be a rocket ship here coming to turn 3. Montoya on cold, fresh red tires. Let's see what Hinchcliffe can do exiting this corner. He stays pretty close, Paul. He's got to be on the button, I would think.
He's got to make his move by turn 5, because if he gets into the twisty corners, there's no real easy way to get by. Both cars on push to pass, but Hinch has got the run down the straightaway. But Montoya is a late breaker. You're not going to outbrake him, and Hinch runs off the end and loses a spot.
At least one.
Race leader is in. Will Power is on pit lane.
And this is big news for Will Power that he was able to get that extra lap. This is lap 26, I believe, when he crosses start-finish.
Pretty amazing that he was able to make up that extra lap. Marty?
Well, and guys, we talked about that. That's what Tim Cindric was trying to do, trying to buy that extra lap. They're going to come down. They're going to put on primary sticker tires and Sunoco fuel. You see Tony Kanaan on the right-hand side. We're going to see where all this cycles out, and if they gain a little bit of time or lose time to Tony Kanaan. You see the no adjustments on the car. His teammate Simon Pagenaud zips around him. For Simon Pagenaud, it's going to be sticker red tires, so different strategies for the two teammates. We'll see where they cycle out, Kevin.
And Graham Rahal also came in. You see him getting out there just ahead of Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud in the bright yellow car right behind, and we'll watch the 10 car, and Will Power is going to easily beat him out, but there's going to be a race for second. Whoa!
Canan over the inside, and Graham Rahal comes across. Canan and Rahal, are we going to see a repeat here of Canan's move on Rahal like we did on the last round of pit stops?
We most certainly might see a review of that move by Graham Rahal. Canan with an amazing exit. Watch him go.
Outside move, the run downhill to turn 5. On the push to pass is Rahal. He looks over at TK's car and can't quite do enough. Tony Canan gets around Rahal and holds position.
And I'm surprised that Canan gave Rahal the brake zone there, Paul. After the move Rahal put coming out of the pits, I would have thought TK would have taken it away. That certainly is going to be under consideration.
That the series is allowing the cars to go straight up to the racing line. Canan coming at 190 miles an hour. And Rahal right out into the line. Really, really dangerous.
This was not what was discussed. The drivers were asked to try and stay to the right-hand side on pit exit.
I don't think they were asked. I think they were instructed in the drivers' meeting. That is not cool.
Woo! It's amazing to me that the track here hasn't built a lane. As we see, Chilton must have run out of fuel, tried to go a lap further than Pagenaud and Rahal, and he has run out of fuel.
Look at those poor mechanics. I mean, they just pushed that thing up the hill. They're exhausted. They have a long ways to go.
Yeah, but getting back to my point, it's amazing that they haven't built an exit lane around turn 1 on the inside for these guys to get out safely onto the racetrack.
That is a really tough break for Max Chilton. I talked to Dario Franchitti, his mentor and coach, earlier in this weekend, and he said a light bulb came on for Max Chilton on Friday, and he thinks he can be a front runner for the rest of this season. But like you guys said, he has run out of fuel. Tough break for the 8 car. And
updating you on a couple of other pit lane incidents. Takuma Sato and teammate Jack Hawksworth both had to perform drive-through penalties for speeding on pit lane. And guys, Aloshin and Gabby Chavez, you remember that interaction before? Aloshin has been instructed to give that position to Gabby Chavez. Too much defensive driving. Tony Canan, the veteran, the crowd favorite on a charge, and the man with a very famous name trying to fight him for it. Super to have you with us here on NBCSN for the Kohler Grand Prix Round 9 of the Verizon IndyCar Series. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy with you along with Marty Snyder, Kevin Lee and Katie Hargett here in Wisconsin. Road America, super to have IndyCars back, and you're watching a thrilling battle. Will Power leads from Tony Canan. Graham Rahal is third, and that Dayglow yellow Menards car for Team Penske is championship leader Simon Pagenaud, who, if positions remain as is, would extend his lead, most notably because Scott Dixon at the moment is a non-finisher, but they're trying to get his car fixed, and his Ganassi teammate is Charlie Kimball, and Charlie is the focal point of today's Chevy driver profile. Here is this man who has raced overseas and here in America. He's won on a road course in IndyCar competition before at Road America a couple of seasons ago, and he's running in a solid 8th place at the moment. There he is, look at that. He's won here in the June Sprints in Formula Ford, loves this track, very much is an old school racer himself, and winning on an old school course at Mid-Ohio. Now, speaking of somebody else doing a nice job, guys, a couple of positions ahead of Charlie Kimball, cresting the hill at turn 6 there is Dale Coyne racer, rookie, and Indiana native Connor Daly. Got his first podium, we mentioned earlier in the show, at Detroit, which was thrilling. And here he is, Katie, doing a superb job in 6th.
And his team owner calls the shots for Connor. What is clicking for the team this weekend, Dale?
Just doing a good job. I mean, he qualified 9th, running 6th. He's stuck right in that hole. He's passed a couple of guys on the track, so we'll see what we can do between here and the end.
Connor told me the key for you guys was to make that learning curve a little bit shorter. How have you done that back in the shop?
Yeah, no, I think he's done a great job. We didn't test here last week because of the crash in Texas, so we were playing catch-up all weekend. We need one more day.
And that podium in Detroit is what Connor says gave him the confidence to run up front, Lee.
Hey, Dale, you could get a little bit excited if you want. Your driver's doing pretty well.
I'll tell you what, Connor Daly so far this year, he's had the pace. When he puts himself up front, he's had the pace to stay there and finish on the podium. So this qualifying better is really paid off for Connor today.
Very much so. Had never made it into the top 12, so that was a thrill. Nice job. Charlie Kimball, as you may have noticed in the background, got around Ryan Hunter-Ray and sets his sights on this young man, the 24-year-old American. See what Kimball can do. Power up front, meanwhile, has almost a 4-second lead over Tony Kanaan. Tony has about a 2-second lead over Graham Rahal. Positions at the top remain as is. What a race we and this huge crowd have been treated to already. It's with immense pride that we say both times Townsend Bell has been to Le Mans. He stood on the podium, but this year, along with Jeff Siegel and Bill Sweedler, the boys in the GTE AM class won at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. T. Bell, congratulations. It wasn't only you, because PT Paul Tracy was racing in the SVRA Series last weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and just like his NBC Sports booth mate, PT went to victory lane as well and finally got to drink the milk at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Boys, congratulations to both of you.
Oh, thanks. It was an awesome feeling hearing the national anthem played there in France. A bit of an Olympic kind of feeling as Rossi hits pit lane. Kevin?
They've been debating whether to change the front wing for quite some time. This is too early to make it a 3-stopper, so he's going to need a 4th stop. He actually took contact when he was picking up positions in the first lap of the race and has been trying to deal with it. You can hear Brian Herta there saying it is broken. This was the right thing to do. Rossi wanted to try to soldier on, but it was really eating up the tires, so they'll make it here. And they've also got a problem on the back, and they have to jack it back up again and get the right tire in. Sunoco fuel also for Alexander Rossi. A big long stop for him.
Okay, clear out, all clear, all clear.
And that was his teammate Marco Andretti pitting as well. That's his 3rd stop, I believe. So they're definitely trying to do it on pace, Lee.
So before that all happened, take a listen to this radio communication between Brian Herta and Alexander Rossi.
All right, Alex, we're going to pit this lap for sticker blacks and a new front wing.
You sure?
Well, you tell us. We're worried that we're going to kill the front tires.
Chance to abandon our race now.
If you feel like you can hang in there, then hang in there.
I'm staying out.
Well, that's the most animated I've heard Rossi ever since his Indy 500 win, but it looks like he took the advice of Brian Herta and could not go any further on those tires with the front wing broken. So we see Power again with a commanding lead now, running his own race, running his own pace. He's got to make no mistakes on this last stop. Don't speed, don't do anything silly. He's got this one in hand.
And the Chevrolet driver brings us to the Chevrolet driver update. Of course, Will Power out in front convincingly, but Chevrolet drivers 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th, and 6th. So well represented, the bow tie boys in this Kohler Grand Prix.
Now here we are, 16 laps to go. Once we get into about lap 36, my question's going to be who's going to be the first to try to pit?
And Pagenaud's gotten by Rahal now.
This is how it happened. Townsend, talk us through.
Well, let's find out. Pagenaud working Graham Rahal, and it looked like Pagenaud used a push to pass. He only has 4 left. Nice clean pass up the inside. It's going to break to turn 5. And Graham really doesn't have an option but to let him go unless he could get on the button early to defend. But Graham Rahal, 5 push to passes left, and they'll start to think about using them up here as we get to the final stint. Another shot from the helicopter.
That's exactly the spot, by the way, where Rahal overtook Pagenaud early in this race. And look at Pagenaud close on Tony Kanaan for 2nd place. The championship leader, Paul, is not being complacent. He's going on the attack.
And we know Kanaan is going to have to pit earlier than these guys, and that is a disadvantage as well. So Pagenaud doesn't have to get too aggressive because he will leapfrog him on the pit stop exchange, Marty.
And guys, remember Kyle Moyer's call on the last stop for Simon Pagenaud to take those red tires. He's going to pass Tony Kanaan, maybe there, maybe not. Looked at it for a moment, but Graham Rahal also was on the red tires, but Pagenaud making lap time, and he just told the team the car is excellent right now. One real quick note, guys, Scott Dixon's team, they are done for the day, definitely. It was a header issue for Scott Dixon's team. You see the repairs on the right, but they have called it a day because they cannot gain any spots any longer. So tough day for Scott Dixon and the team in the battle on the track, getting good, Lee.
Look at this on the inside. Championship leader Pagenaud through on Tony Kanaan. He's now up to 2nd.
And did exactly the same move as he put on Graham Rahal the lap before with push to pass. He now has 3 left, but a fast race car. If he can pull away, it really won't matter how much he's used.
He's already pulled away. This guy now, he's the Alain Prost of IndyCar racing. Such a tactician. He hasn't made a mistake all year long. And big points lead now.
I love your French, by the way. Alain Prost. Good stuff.
He's from Ontario, not Quebec. So Pagenaud on the attack, and his old rival leads the way. Introducing NBC Sports Gold, an all-new app that'll give you more tour than ever before. You can monitor your favorite riders' biometrics, follow the peloton with GPS tracking, and live stream all 21 stages. Additional terms and conditions may apply. To learn more, go to NBCSportsGold.com. The Tour de France begins Saturday, right here on NBCSN. Can't wait. Was talking to NBC Sports analyst Paul Sherwin the other week, who's a huge motorsport fan, so he's been watching what's been going on here on your home of motorsport, as we welcome you back to Road America, where Will Power has a very comfortable afternoon. Has had and may have, boasting a 5-second lead in his Team Penske machine over Simon Pagenaud, teammate and championship leader. Can Pagenaud do anything about that?
Look at the last lap from Simon Pagenaud. I haven't seen anybody in the 44s. He's a full second, almost 2 seconds quicker than anybody in the field. Simon Pagenaud trying to make it happen, but moments ago, Charlie Kimball worked his way up through the field with this pass, Paul, on Connor Daly.
Connor held the inside. Around the outside, these two youngsters, nice clean pass. Charlie's been moving forward from his 12th starting position, but the battle at the front is going to get hotter. If Pagenaud can continue this pace and close that gap, Power's going to be under pressure.
While we've seen some kind of mad and bordering on dangerous scrambles on pit exit heading into turn one, I think when there's been some genuine challenges, Paul, wheel to wheel, we've seen some pretty respectful driving today.
No, it's been good driving today, good racing, no yellows. Nobody's even been off the track. We haven't seen a car in the grass, and everybody was in the grass during practice and qualifying.
And we're on target by the end of this race to see almost 100 passes on track as Charlie Kimball comes in for what should be his final stop of the day. Katie?
It's been a great day for Charlie Kimball, but a frustrating start to the weekend. They changed the setup to Max Chilton's, and he is much happier now as they go to sticker reds, fill him up with Sunoco fuel, and send him back out. Kevin?
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay's not doing too bad to stay in 8th position, because the car, he said, has been all over the place. Keep in mind, he's felt awful all weekend dealing with the virus. He does feel better today, and he's got a set of sticker red Firestones for this last stint.
So these guys would love a yellow flag in the next minute and a half. If so, they'd go right to the front of the queue. It's happened in the past, but so far, as Paul said, we've seen very little in terms of drama that could lead to a yellow. Look at Munoz coming out just in front of Chilton. Chilton currently back in, where is he?
Yeah, he's
He's all the way back, 2 laps down.
Ran out of fuel, so no problem there. But yeah, if somebody spins here, has a problem on cold tires, and we go yellow,
or
these
contact.
guys are pitted. Look at Hinchcliffe from the back of the field. Now has caught Hunter-Reay and goes by him on the push pass. Hunter-Reay comes back.
Old Andretti teammates
off
right
the
here.
track.
And Hinch not happy with RHR. And race leader is in. Final stop, or what should be the final stop, for Will Power in the Kohler Grand Prix. Marty Snyder is standing by.
And Will Power will come down pit road here, Lee, and Tony Kanaan will come down pit road as well. Will Power with a big lead. Can he hold on to it here on pit road? First, third, and fifth come to pit road here on lap 39. Power wants no changes to the car, as you would imagine, and he actually liked the primary tires, sticker primary tires for that run. He said it was very good at the end of the run as well. Waiting on fuel, 7-6 on the stop. Outstanding stop, Kevin.
Tony Kanaan's got a set of sticker red alternates to go on this last stop. They'll make the change, and they will make a little bit of a crank on the front way. Marty Kanaan back out.
Elio Castroneves and his team have been fighting this race car all afternoon long, but on that run, as we showed at the end of it, he was outstanding. Wants no changes to the car. They're going with the primary sticker tires as well. We'll see where all these guys cycle out. Simon Pagenaud, the championship leader, he will be pitting on the next lap.
And the guy that looks to be making hay right now is Pagenaud, who didn't stop his last lap, still quicker, a 44.3. Guys, Pagenaud is flying. How much of the gap can he take out of Power, as he probably is going to come to pit lane this lap, I'd guess.
And how well a managed race has this been from the 22 team. He's got unbelievable run from the championship leader.
He's got to push, push, push if he's going to close the gap. If this is a clean in lap, a fast in lap, sideways coming off the corners, he could go an extra lap because I think Power went on the conservative side. But we'll see if he peels off here. If he goes another lap, that gap will be 0.
The old story about out and in laps, and what a lap that was from Simon Pagenaud.
Look at him charge to the pit speed line, locking a left front. Hopefully he got it down to 60 miles an hour.
Pressure, pressure, pressure on this final stop. This is where you really see what a team sport it is, Marty.
And Lee, he knows he's got to gain on his teammate Will Power. He told the team at the end of that run, it's so much better here on the red tires. But as Kyle Moyer told him, we're out of red tires, but I'm sorry, we have to go with the primary tires. Graham Rahal coming into pit road as well. Simon Pagenaud screeches to a halt, and a quick stop so far. A little hang up on the right front for Simon Pagenaud. They're going to go with the primary sticker tires. No adjustments to the car. 8-4 on the stop. Here comes Will Power. Where will they cycle out, Kevin?
Final stop for
Will
Graham
this be
Rahal.
close? Look at this, Kev. Look at this. And Power easily goes around the outside of Simon Pagenaud.
That was close, and here comes Graham Rahal.
Graham Rahal's another gap here with Canan. Canan is going to get by him again.
What does Graham do? Doesn't shoot across the road that time. Now he has to defend on Castroneves.
So they come out as is, as per, as they were. And it's the race on. It's a fair fight from here to the checkered flag at Road America. Spinner, Connor Daly's off. Turn 1, is that outside turn 1 or is it outside the carousel?
It was a fast corner. I'm going to guess that was turn 1 at the exit.
Oh,
yes.
Connor Daly. The race was going so well.
Now he was battling with Hunter Ray and maybe Montoya.
Contact between somebody, because it's not a common place to spin and get that far off the track.
That is at big speed.
Well, and he was running with Hunter Ray, I believe, at the time. And let's take a look here.
Oh, there's a race going on. Look. Oh, he got it way too late on the brakes. Locked the rears, and that was it.
Defending to the inside as Montoya's coming out of the pits, but just overcooked it big time into 1.
It's a good thing that didn't happen during the pit stop cycle, because that would have changed the whole complexion of the race.
Hey guys, the 28 team, Ryan Hunter-Reay just radioed in and said it looked like he had a puncture or something, but it didn't come from me. And on the stand, Ray Gosselin said, yeah, it looks like there was something wrong with that left rear.
Something blew. You see that rear pod on the left. See that go there?
Yeah, suspension broke.
Oh, it broke.
Yeah, no.
Looks like the left rear completely failed. So no fault of Connor Daly's. That's just the worst of all kind of failures at terminal velocity.
What a shame. That's not his fault, and he had driven a very good race to that point. And he says, yep, what could I do? It wasn't my fault. But the majority of this race today, folks, this 24-year-old American, the rookie, has run in 6th place. For Dale Coyne, one of the smaller teams in IndyCar, one of the oldest teams in IndyCar. They may not have the resources of the big boys, but Dale has a habit of picking drivers with some terrific talent, like Connor Daly. Something new for the day here at Road America in the Kohler Grand Prix. We're under yellow. Under yellow with only 10 laps to go. Boy, is this going to be quite the finish with the teammates and old rivals Will Power, Simon Pagenaud running 1st and 2nd with 10 to go.
Yellows breed yellows. This is going to be a frantic first 2 corners down to turn 5. We have the leaders, Power and Pagenaud on blacks, Canan and Graham on reds. So.
And the other thing, Paul, we got to factor in is the push to pass remaining. Power, by virtue of leading all day, still has 5 in the bag, where Pagenaud, Canan, 2 and 3 respectively. Further down the field, Montoya with only 1 left.
A couple of guys to watch, Townsend too, as Elio Castro-Neves and Charlie Kimball both are on fresh red tyres, the softer compound, and they have some extra push to passes as well.
You're basically, if it's a late restart, your Power's kind of a sitting duck unless he takes off early. You see a replay for Connor Daly here. Suspension failure. Ryan Hunter-Reay nowhere in the picture there having any contact with him. We understand that Connor felt he got hit or something, but Ryan Hunter-Reay was nowhere near him.
So Connor's waiting for Ryan Hunter-Reay and obviously sarcastically saying, thanks very much, mate. But there was no contact in that particular incident that we saw. Maybe something happened earlier in that lap.
It's entirely possible, or earlier in the race. Oftentimes the metallic fatigue can happen over the course of many laps. We see Bourdais, Rossi, Marco Andretti on pit lane. Marty? Up. Here we go on the yellow. All these guys going to make a charge here at the end.
So inside 10 to go. Last scramble for those a little further down the order for their final stop of the race. It all sets up for a classic finish at a classic track.
Welcome back to IndyCar on NBCSN, live from Road America. Just before the break, you saw Connor Daly make contact with the tire barrier. Connor, you waited for Ryan Hunter-Reay to come back around and clapped for him. We're going to show you a replay right here. Tell us what you think happened.
Well, I knew he was really close, so you know, I know Ryan wouldn't do something like that, so I apologize to him because it looked like something broke. I didn't actually. Yeah, that's weird. It just literally snapped, like I got hit in the left rear, so that's why I thought initially. So sorry, Ryan. But yeah, really weird. I mean, I've never felt anything like that in one of these cars. You know, the race is going fairly well, obviously, and you know, again, we were sort of fighting up at the front, which is what we want to do. So you know, credit to the team, but yeah, sad when something breaks like that, sort of out of your control.
A great weekend ending in frustration, Marty.
Well, Katie, Will Power and Tim Cindric had a big lead. They don't have that big lead any longer. So who are you more worried about, your teammate behind you or the guys behind him with the red tires?
I think at this point you worry about all of it, but they're going to have to sort it out. Now, fortunately, we've got one guy behind us on black tires, but I think the fans will be in for a treat. It's a great crowd here today, and you know, come back to Elkhart Lake, they're going to have a great finish here. I just hope our guys are at the top end of it.
One interesting thing about Simon Pagenaud, Lee, is that in the offseason, Kyle Moyer, his strategist, wanted him to really work on and focus on restarts, especially late race restarts. In fact, they sat down and watched film of late race restarts and how he could be better. And he's still sort of beating himself up for St. Pete, where his teammate Juan Pablo Montoya got by him. It's going to be interesting to see if he can grab the lead here from his teammate once again. This time it's Will Power.
Well, the other thing that we talk about a lot, Marty, is, hey, the golden rule in motorsport is don't take your teammate out. You remember the Spanish Formula One Grand Prix? Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton. Boy, what a nightmare. We've got Team Penske 1 and 2.
Well, we know that this team operates, Townsend, with no team orders. They're going to let these guys race each other hard. And Sonoma last year, they stepped on themselves, and that could play in for Canan. He's a great restarter, but these guys might take care of themselves down at turn 5.
Yeah, not a lot to lose for Canan. I would expect him to be very brave on the restart. A lot of it's going to come down to when they get to the throttle, right? Does somebody gamble and get a jump as they come up the long hill?
It all depends on when Power takes off. Does he take off back at the corner? Does he wait to come up the hill?
Oh, look at this. They've dropped Connor Daly's car off the tow truck, adding insult to injury.
Oh, no. So that's what's causing this prolonged yellow. This will be addressed. We'll go back to racing here at Road America when we return.
Seven to go at Road America with Will Power leading Simon Pagenaud and Tony Kanaan in third. Chip Ganassi, the car owner, is on the stand for Kanaan. Those two in front, scuff reds. You guys have sticker reds for this stint. Do you have something for the two Penskes?
I think they're on blacks, actually, and we're on reds.
Even better.
Even better. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think we have more power. Power is kind of in a class of his own. We certainly have a shot at second, and I think we've got a shot at Pagenaud here, and we'll see if we've got to hold off Graham. It'll be pretty interesting the last few laps.
I was talking to Dario yesterday, and he said Tony Kanaan has really found something at this point. What do you see from his driving recently?
Yeah, I mean, it's I know that actually Frank Keating's been talking to him a lot about his driving, and he's made some big improvements, and we like the job he's doing.
Thank you. Chip Ganassi. Katie?
And a little bit down pit lane, Scott Harner calls the shots for Charlie Kimball, who is in 6th and also on reds. Do you guys have anything for the top 5?
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's obviously been a pretty good day considering where we started. So he definitely seems like he's in a good place and ready to go, and the car's been quick. So I think so.
All right, we'll see if he can make it in these last few laps, Lee.
Can you imagine if Chip Ganassi could celebrate victory week to week? Last week at Le Mans, celebrating the 50th anniversary of Ford GT's overall win in '66, and 2 of his cars on that GTE Pro podium to come here to Road America. But first of all, his man's got to get past 2 Team Penske Chevys. Will Power, Simon Pagenaud.
Going early, took off early.
So much for the restart zone.
Time to go, and we're inside the final 10 laps. Make that when they cross the line. 6 laps to go. Ryan Hunter-Reay and Charlie Kimball side by side. Power, Pagenaud, Canaan. Here comes Rahal. Look at the yellow car on the inside. It's a drag race to turn 1. Does Rahal have enough under the brakes? Deep, not enough.
Whoa, I thought he was going to stuff it in there on Canaan, but Canaan exercised some muscle on the outside. Watch Rahal go for it again here.
Castro Neves has got a view of this too, PT.
Still there, but he's got a bunch of cars on the push to pass again. You see Graham Rahal starting to pull up in that draft, but he's not close enough right now to do anything.
Canaan, Rahal, Castro Neves, Kimball all on the button down this straightaway. Look at this!
Kimball on the inside of Elio Castro Neves, couldn't do it. Big deep under brakes goes Munoz on Spencer Pigot, and Pigot goes wide, takes evasive action. Power, Pagenaud, Canaan, Rahal, Castro Neves, Kimball, Hunter-Reay. Where did JPM come from? Juan Pablo Montoya. That yellow assisted him, but he was making his way back through the field well before that.
Hunter-Reay taking a look, and this has been the part of the race, the part of the battle that has been so intense, 7th through about 11th, all race long. Montoya's been in the thick of it for the whole race. As you see your Firestone data, watch Montoya. He'll be wide open on the throttle through the kink, and everybody knows this is my last chance in this race, perhaps, to make up any spots.
Almost 190 miles an hour down to Canada corner in the draft behind Ryan Hunter-Reay. He gets a little sideways, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Now here's the problem for Montoya and Charlie Kimball. Montoya 1 push to pass left. Kimball totally exposed. He's used them all. Nothing left in the bag for Charlie Kimball.
And still our race leader, Will Power, has 3. There he is in the Verizon Team Penske Chevy. What's he got? Less than a second over Simon Pagenaud. Charlie Kimball and Elio Castro Neves go wheel to wheel. Oh, they hit! There's a collision there.
And they'll stay side by side to 3.
He's supposed to give up that position, what we're hearing from timing and scoring from the prior lap, but he's not giving it up very easily.
And now Kimball's got Ryan Hunter-Reay all over him. Oh, look at Hunter-Reay, he's out on the grass and dirt. Captain America rounds up Charlie Kimball, and he's now out after Elio Castro Neves.
Problem you have now is
Hunter-Reay's going to go wide. Kimball's going to have a chance. No.
And guys in the background, take a look who's there. Behind this man is Joseph Newgarden. Broken collarbone, broken hand in that blue car. This has been an unbelievable effort from the 25-year-old American. He came into this race 4th in points. He will not be allowed to start the revisit to Texas. However, he's going to grab some really good championship points here.
Absolutely terrific for Newgarden. The question was, could he survive? Not only has he survived, he's come to the end of this race with as much fire as he's ever had. Canaan's got to run.
On the reds, he's got a run on him.
And he's made a move at this part of the circuit before he went out on the grass. One way on Rahal, the other way on Pagenaud. TK, the veteran, Tony Kanaan is on fire.
Superhero move. He could close the gap to Power now on the reds. Are so much quicker, but he's got about a second and a half behind with 5 laps to go. 10 miles. We've got a lot of racing, 20 miles of racing to go.
Townsend, you love the fact that Kanaan has done Ironmans and triathlons most of his career. This is an Ironman performance.
Well, watch this.
Look at this. Look at this.
Graham Rahal on Pagenaud, and Pagenaud right now is getting chewed up on the straights.
The reds are so much faster now that the track is rubbered up. Pagenaud has lost 2 positions in 1 lap.
Remember this gap, Power to Kanaan, 2.5 seconds. We'll continue to monitor it.
He's going to get passed by his teammate now.
Castro Neves still hasn't given that position back to Kimball, even though he's been instructed
to. Run. Castro Neves has a run as well.
And guys, you see Simon Pagenaud falling back through the field. He told the team on the radio a moment ago, we have an engine problem again. So Simon Pagenaud falling back through the field. His teammate Elio Castroneves trying to get him in some great racing on the track behind them.
That's Joseph Newgarden on Juan Pablo Montoya, and Newgarden's got him. Don't worry about that broken hand or broken collarbone.
Look at Spencer Piggott racing Juan Pablo Montoya in his second IndyCar race.
Second IndyCar race for ECR, and he is loving it. The rookie who just built up his experience. He's raced here before in other categories. And this is super from Spencer Piggott.
I think it's so fantastic what Newgarden's doing on this final stint. Look at him.
You know what he's doing? With only one hand, he's boxing Juan Pablo Montoya.
Montoya gets the run back on him after both on push to pass, and look at this.
Montoya just chops the nose off of Newgarden, and look at Newgarden come flying back here. He's going to get him on the uphill. Montoya runs wide in 5, now uphill under the bridge. My corner, pal, back off, move out of the way, I'm coming through.
And he used up, with that very move, he used up his final push to pass.
Tony Kanaan is closing the gap to Will Power, and look at his teammate blocks Castro Neves.
So race control has lost patience with car 3, Elio Castro Neves, and said, you must relinquish that position and give it back to the 83 for earlier blocking.
That's 2 spots. He's looking at a podium. He's not even thinking about that. So
he's going to say, we'll sort that one out after the checkered flag.
Give it up here.
We've seen Castro Neves sorted out by charging the race control tower in Edmonton many years ago. Here he goes, letting Hunter Ray by. I think he's letting him by. Let's see what he does with Kimball.
It's hard to do. I mean, as a driver, it's impossible to do that. Because you're sitting there looking at a podium and they're telling you give up the position. I'd be furious.
Hey folks, could this race get any better?
Look at Newgarden.
Is down to 1.3 seconds behind Power, and Newgarden is running high on adrenaline. Car 21, the direct supply machine for ECR, Ed Carpenter Racing. Boy, this has been an inspired drive.
If things get crazy here, Newgarden could end up on the podium.
There was doubt, there was a cloud of doubt ever since Texas whether he would physically be able to make this race. He said, I'm 4th in the championship, I'm racing at Road America.
Hunter Ray's got to run. There's some type of issue with Pagenaud's car. He's got a misfire. Both of these cars rounding him up on the straightaway easily.
Next in queue will be Charlie Kimball and then Joseph Newgarden.
He's really off power now. Look at Kimball on the outside.
Oh!
Squeezing Simon Pagenaud. What a move, Charlie Kimball. And
here
Montoya
goes
wants a second shot. Montoya wants a shot at his teammate and at Newgarden.
Pagenaud's motor is going away. He's waving his hands. He's lost 5 positions in 1 lap. This thing might not be. Look at these 2.
Montoya does not like the fact that Joseph Newgarden put some pretty slick moves on him, and he said, hey, I'm a 2-time Indy 500 winner, and I'm an IndyCar champ, and I'm a 7-time Formula 1 Grand Prix winner. Not that easy, kid.
Both these guys have burned all their push to pass. Newgarden and Montoya, nothing left, so it's straight up here, wheel to wheel. As Newgarden works the toe.
Kanaan has 1 push to pass, and he's 1 second now behind Will Power. Look at this battle back here.
This is an A-Link championship leader. The points are disappearing by the second. Pagenaud in 22, that Dayglow Menards car, is in more trouble than the 3 Bears.
And Pagenaud desperately trying to hang on to points without getting run into. So difficult to do what he's doing right now, trying to manage everybody behind that's just all over him.
Guys up front, Kanaan is almost half a second within Power. Power is in within reach. Let's ride with Kanaan.
2 laps to go. 3 push to passes for Power, 1 for Tony Kanaan. Tony has 1 shot at this.
But I think most significantly, Tony Kanaan on the red tires, about half a second a lap quicker.
Here, look at that speed through Canada corner. He closed the gap down to 0.6 of a second. He's got to make it happen. He's coming to the white flag here with 1 lap to go.
Oh, this is going to be terrific.
What about those moves that Tony Kanaan has pulled down the back straight Are we getting ready for another one? White flag out, 4 more miles. Who's going to win the Kohler Grand Prix?
And Will Power has to be coached on his push to pass, Paul. Use up that power. He's got 2 left.
He was on it. He's going to use it the next straightaway, and he's going to use it after the carousel, the 3 long straightaways. But Tony's right there, and he's got to make it happen now.
Those overtakes, bud.
And Tony's used everything he has left, so he has to do it on corner speed. I don't know if he's going to be able to tow on Power with 2 push-to-passes.
You can see the push-to-power. Power's on it. He's pulling away on the straightaway. So if he can get through these next section of corners clean, it's pretty much game over, but anything can happen.
Paul, I think his best chance is right here. Get a good exit, try to stay close in the kink, and get him on braking for turn 8.
For Canada corner.
Not close enough.
For Canada corner. Down to turn 8 and getting ready. Half a lap left to go. Tony Kanaan hasn't won a race in a season and a half. Fontana 2014 was TK's last victory. Carousel for the final time.
I'll tell you what, it's gotten a lot harder for Power this last half of the race. The last 10 laps, it's been a struggle. He had everybody covered earlier.
1 more push to pass used for Will Power.
And that's his last one, and look at what it delivered for him. Look at the gap that 3 push-to-passes earns you over 1 lap. 2 corners to go for Will Power. Now he's out. If Tony Kanaan can close, he might have a chance up the hill.
2 more corners left. Tony Kanaan, what a race weekend he's put together, but not quite enough at the end. The Kohler Grand Prix is won by Will Power for Team Penske. Detroit and now Road America. Will Power said today, I can win this championship, and he most certainly has taken a big step. What a race. What a race. Kanaan second, Rahal third, and Simon Pagenaud, the championship leader, will come home in a frustrating 13th position. Wow.
Everything changed in 3 laps for Pagenaud. He was looking at a win and fell to 13th.
And the guy that's breathing a huge sigh of relief, I think, is Scott Dixon. Only 90 points back. It minimized the damage there. And Penske 1, 2, and 3 in the championship. And as you see Luz Power ecstatic at her husband's victory. Hunter-Reay saying good job. Here comes Montoya.
Another podium for Rahal. Great run by Kanaan. Hunter-Reay wasn't really a factor all day, but at the end, when it counted, he came alive.
Might be burning some Firestone Blacks up here.
And with that, Will Power ties Johnny Rutherford for 13th on the all-time wins list. 27th career victory. And although it's been an indifferent season that started with him not being able to race on the streets of St. Petersburg after setting the pole, Power wins at Road America. Last time he was here, he was frustrated with what went down in 2007. He's come back emphatically. Pole position and victory in the Verizon Team Penske Chevy. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Hyatt Gold Passport, the official hotel sponsor of Graham Rahal and the number 15, and by TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install smarter. Tire Rack. Will Power cruises back into the pit lane here at Road America. What a Kohler Grand Prix. Thumbs up from the man who knows what it's like to come so close to winning a championship, to see it go away, to finally winning a championship. And he told us very definitely today, I can still win this championship. And given the fact of what happened to Simon Pagenaud with some kind of mechanical issue, it saw him drop down the order to 13th. And the points, he loses 6. And look at that. Elio Castro Neves now slides into second ahead of Scott Dixon. So too does Power. Pagenaud's lead was 80 coming into today. Is now 81 between the top 3. And Scott Dixon only lost 10 to Pagenaud. So that was a get out of jail card.
And how about Joseph Newgarden? That's the payoff for going for it. Gritting your teeth and hanging in there, 5th in points. and an unbelievable drive. Just amazing to see him go wheel to wheel despite the injuries.
Tony Kanaan jumps 2 spots up in the championship with a great run today. He got the admiration of his boss, Chip Ganassi, says he loves the way he's driving right now. And you see Will Power pulling into victory circle.
It's Graham Rahal, another podium. He was on the podium here back in Champ Car back in 2007. On IndyCar's return, he's on the podium again. That was he was in the middle of some pretty good fights as well today, Graham Rahal, in the Gale Cup for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. But it's Will Power's day. Phenomenal run. There was some good strategy early on at the end. He had to race hard, but it was well managed with those pushes to pass. And look at that, the team thrilled. It was a well-run, well-calculated win, and they needed that. He's had some adversity this year. He's had some tough times. Detroit got him back on track. Here we go. Ready to experience this for the 27th time in his career.
Championship hunt, Kevin.
And Tony Kanaan might be in the championship hunt.
Graham Rahal, and as he said, would have liked to have finished higher, but he has some good championship points. Not as many as this guy, Will Power. What a thrill. Back-to-back, Detroit, and now Road America. And this one, as you can tell by the drivers' voices and their sentiment, this race, this place means so much to them. So Will Power now has a win next to his name in IndyCar Series competition at the famed Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We've got a whole lot more coming in the aftermath of the Kohler Grand Prix. What a day in Wisconsin. There was so much build-up, there was so much anticipation to this race and IndyCar's return to Road America. Well, as you have just seen, hope you enjoyed, it did not disappoint. With a great race right till the end, just the one caution period, bunched the pack up, and some really good hard racing, and one man not feeling 100%, who was right in the middle of all of that, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Lee had pretty dirty stuff going on, but we fought through it. I had a blast, and best thing is we're back at Road America. I really noticed it under yellow, you know, look up at the hills and the stands, and the fans are just lining them and waving under yellow. It's unbelievable. I haven't seen a road course like that in a long time.
Did you cut some grass? Did somebody give you a little ride?
Oh, yeah, Kimball ran me off the track in 6th gear.
Control a little bit about that. You know, the move, he blocked me down into turn 5, and then the fact that I could hang on around turn 1, around the exit, that was it was exciting. I don't know that I want to do that again, but you know, a lot of credit to the 83 guys in pit lane. They just kept giving me positions all day long. Yeah, and there's the block, which is, it made it hard because that cost me momentum and the 28 goes by. But overall, I'm really happy with 6. These guys have worked so hard all weekend, and we sort of went back and forth quite a bit. And I don't know why he was going to the right there, so I apologize for not giving.
A little bit, because we're trying to play a little bit safe, but in this position, I'm trying to get the draft. I saw Ryan. I literally did not see the guy. I moved, but I left him a little bit of room. Unfortunately, they're calling blocking. But as soon as that happens, I'm trying to give a position. Unfortunately, it's him and Hunter-Reay. I can see my mirror going
with the legends in IndyCar like Juan Pablo Montoya. You guys put on a show.
Yeah, I mean, we had fun there. You know, Juan's a tough guy to race, man. You gotta run him hard, and I was struggling there at the end a little bit. You know, I had a little issue going on, kind of similar to Pagano, but not as severe. And you know, it was still just fun running with him. I tried to break deep and make him, you know, push a little hard, and then got him back, and then he finally got me back when I was trying to get one by Simon. But hey, what more can you ask for as a race car driver, right? You want to have good competition, run toe-to-toe with these guys.
And with the engine issue that he alluded to at the end. Watch this.
Spencer Pigot racing with Marco Andretti, making a move on Jack Hawksworth in late.
And we should give credit to Spencer Pigot as well, because he finished 9th. Tremendous effort, and he was one of the biggest movers in the race, making up 8 positions from his starting spot as they get ready for the actual official podium presentation. Will Power just finishing up with Michael Young for the audience, the huge audience here that have enjoyed, maybe not the rain earlier today, but certainly a phenomenal race. So the Cola Grand Prix for Indy cars may have just wrapped up, but coming up, it's the Indy Lights Grand Prix of Road America. Now, this was recorded earlier today in mixed weather conditions, and it too was a phenomenal race. For now, though, let's head to Marty Snyder and hear from the championship leader.
Well, Simon Pagenaud.
Basically, and it's even more frustrating when you definitely have a car to win the race. The last restart, I really thought we had a shot at the win against Will. Minard's car has been awesome. It's been improving all weekend, and
Road America.
Joseph Newgarden said he loves racing you like this because you're such a challenge to race.
Yeah, we race, but we give each other room. I mean, look, we're going at it. We're next to each other, and we give each other room. Look, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? But it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with like
and Simon and guys I've been watching for so many years, that to be racing against them and battling so close was really cool. And you know, I just can't thank this team for having me. Fuzzy's Star Racing Chevrolet. It was a really good day, and you know, looking forward to building on this next time out.
Even though you're a rookie here,
You've won before here in junior categories.
You know, it's fantastic. It was a great event, and you know, a huge shout out to the fans who made it so special, and you know, hopefully we can come back here next year.
A lot of side-by-side racing there. You going 3 wide through a corner there with a lotion on your outside, and somebody snuck through on the inside.
Yeah, no, it was a fight on the last lap, and
when we come back to Road America, it's time to wrap things up. What has been a memorable day in Elkhart Lake. Many thousands of happy IndyCar fans heading home from Road America after what was a thriller of a Cola Grand Prix as we relive some of the key moments in this 50-lap race in the Verizon IndyCar Series. At the wave of the green, there was weaving, ducking, diving. People were going everywhere, but in the end, the poleman Will Power led to turn 1.
How about Juan Montoya getting forced over there by Charlie Kimball on the opening laps? And the aggression started right away. I didn't realize Montoya took some debris there.
And then Scott Dixon, Paul, this ended his hopes.
Yep, header failure. It looked like it was a disaster. Pagenaud was running so strong, but Pagenaud would have issues in the end. Connor Daly's rear suspension brakes, luckily, gets it slowed down. Doesn't hit the wall that hard, but lucky day for him.
Then lap 47. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Pagenaud drops back. He starts to have issues just like Dixon.
And we scoot ahead to the final lap, and Tony Kanaan had chased Will Power down to be within a second. Wore Will Power's pushes to passes out. However, the former series champ prevailed for his second Verizon IndyCar Series win in a row. Power, Kanaan, Rahal, what a celebrated podium, and the Ryan Hunter-Reay finishing in the top 5. Castro Neves keeps his run going this season. He's the only driver to complete 100% of the laps.
Great run, and I can't say enough about Joseph Newgarden. What an incredible run. He's so humble, doesn't make any issue about the pain he undoubtedly was suffering, but further down, several issues. Simon Pagenaud with a bad finish in 13th, and way down at 22nd, Scott Dixon, your first car out of the race.
Marco Andretti coming from last place on the grid today up to 12th, so a decent day for him. We didn't give him a lot of love today, but he had a good finish.
And we don't have to wait any longer. IndyCar has raced at Road America yet again, and what a day it was. Stay here on NBCSN for the Indy Lights race. It's coming right up from earlier today in mixed conditions. Be sure to join us Sunday, July 10 at 5 o'clock Eastern for the Iowa Corn 300 around that tiny little, very fast bull ring. And for all the information you need on the series, the Verizon IndyCar Series, head to NBCSports.com. What a day in Wisconsin. We congratulate Will Power. Thanks for watching IndyCar on your home of motorsport.